I'm your host here at IH Garage. My plan is with this channel is that I'm going to provide a resource for people that have these international scouts or are looking to get started working on cars or maybe working on these scouts, and so they can hopefully learn, like I am, firsthand on how to work on them and what it takes to be able to maintain your weekend cruiser, maybe even your daily driver for some of us. So my hope is that by this channel you hopefully learn something, that there's a takeaway from it. If I'm able to teach somebody, so one person, one thing out of 100 people, then I've done my job and what I'm trying to do here. So aside from what you read on old forums online, like from Binder Planet or ihscout.com, you don't really see much information about these that's readily available, like some of the more popular cars, muscle cars. There's endless information about those, but you don't see too much about these scouts. And these are an up-and-coming 4x4. They're really hitting the market strong. They're on a lot of top 10 lists for collector cars now, but there's still not a lot of information like you think there'd be. So my main goal with this channel is, like I said, is to help other people out, but it's also to improve my daily driver here. I bought this thing for $5,000 off of Craigslist. I thought it was really cool. I have a great respect for old vehicles. I wouldn't drive anything else. I got it as my first car, as part of my birthday / Eagle Scout accomplishment gift, and so I'm really happy my parents bought it for me. I've already learned a lot, not only about scouts but cars in general. I've always had an interest in that stuff. So the plan is to do a full restoration with this vehicle, and hopefully get it back on the road running and reliable and go everywhere and do anything. And that includes stuff like suspension upgrades, steering upgrades, disc brake conversion in the front, and just general maintenance and whatever I need to cover in these videos to hopefully help you guys out in the long run. So, I'm not just here making these videos. I want to help people out. That's really what I want to do. And so without further ado, let me show you what I'm working with here. Alright, so here we are. This is my 1965 International Scout 800. It's that 1 year in 65 in the later model years when they switched over from the 80 model to the 800. So some of you who know the Scouts well can see that some of these parts look like they're off a Scout 80, but this is in fact an 800 as indicated on the VIN tag and the firewall here. That is a Scout 800 4x4. So that's a good thing to check if you decide to ever buy a Scout. I believe they did that for all model years of Scouts. I'm sure the tag changed a little bit, but you can confirm the model information there. It's real basic, no power steering, no power brakes. You got a single pot master cylinder there and a mechanical clutch linkage. It's a slant 4, which is 152 cubic inch. They also make the 196, but I have the 152 here. Just a real basic Holley 1904 single barrel carburetor, hydraulic flat tappet cam. As far as interior, I got aftermarket gauges that the previous owner put in, minus the speedometer, which is original. It also has the original mileage, or what I believe to be original, at 103,000. It's definitely showing this age of this vehicle. I know you can't see most of the interior, but it's got like these aftermarket style seats in it. It's missing the radio and stuff like that. So as far as specifications, it's got a Dana 27 front and rear axle, 427 spec gears in it, Dana 20 transfer case, and a Borg Warner T93 speed transmission on the floor. No console shift for these years here. You got to lock the front hubs in order to engage four-wheel drive, as well as put the transfer case in 4. You have 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, and 2 low. For the street, I've been told to run 2 high. I think that's what I'll do. I haven't been able to drive the old girl yet, because I was planning on changing all the fluids before I decide to start venturing off in her, but I found a bunch of chipped teeth on a ring gear, which I'll show you a little bit later, and that kind of put a little damper on things because I had to pull the whole axle out and rebuild it. So it's apart right now on the other side of the shop, but hopefully I got my little cardboard list there. things are getting crossed off at a good rate, and I'm happy with how it's turning out so far. And so I'll bring you over to the bench and I'll show you what I'm working with. Over here at the bench, I got all my axle parts here. This is all the parts from the Dana 27. I painted some of them up. You can see the differential cover here, but most of them are still pretty greasy, stuff like that. And I'll show you the damage. See where I got a lot of chipped teeth here, and everything is just generally worn down. Like the spiders, clacked a lot, and they weren't really in good shape. Like the cross pin here was really worn down. A few of the spacers on the back here were turned into glitter. There was not really any spacer left besides the little ring that meets up behind here. Most of them just kind of got liquidated. And one bearing even fell apart when I took it out. But this will be another video too, when I'm putting this thing back together. I got a full Yukon ring and gear rebuild kit for this thing. I was able to find a new old stock, but new in box ring and pinion off of eBay. Paid $150 for it. Same 427 spec. I never changed it because I want that torque if I ever decide to go off-roading or just even in general. So that'll be pretty nice once it gets back in there, because I'll be one step closer to driving. Over here, I got my new radiator bypass hose, again from Rock Auto. Just a set of hose clamps too. Got my upper radiator hose, which is still in really good shape. They sell this one brand new, but mine is still really good. It's still nice and firm here. It's not like degraded, and it's not really hard. It's pretty nice. Needs to be cleaned up. And then I got a new set of rear brake shoes. I have 9x2 rear brakes. So picked up a new set of shoes from Napa. It was pretty good. It was only $26. And then a new spring hardware kit from a guy on eBay. Scouter1 is his profile name, and he makes really nice sets and kits for the Scout and the Scout 800s. Maybe Scout 2s, I'm not sure. I haven't needed to shop in that department at all. But he makes all the little parts, side view mirrors, gas caps, and the lift gate handles. And they're all really reasonably priced, and shipping is cheaper. Because I'm sure if you don't already know, you'll find that if you own a Scout and you're using like IH America or Scout parts, that they'll really dock you on shipping for even like the smallest little crap. And then I got my U-joint retaining, like U-bolt plate, Jesus, what do you call them? Retainers, caps, we'll call them U-bolts, U-joint U-bolts. And then I got a brand new U-joint in my drive shaft here, and that's also painted up. And then here we have the axle housing, and that's just getting cleaned up. Tested out a nice can of Krylon rust inhibitor there, just kind of a paint over rust type thing, really cheap, really cost effective. Found a couple cans of it at Walmart. That's what I painted the drive shaft with, so I really like that paint. Also painted my brake drums there too. And over there is just the old brake hardware. For over here on the bench, now going back to the Scout, I'll show you a few more pretty interesting things that I learned about these vehicles. So first thing here, this is the gas tank right here. I know it's hard to see, I don't have a light on me right now, but this is the gas tank. Like right here's the fuel filler cap, and on the inside you got the hose that goes right into it. You got your wires coming out for your fuel sending unit. I hooked up the fuel gauge. It actually works for how rusty the pickup was, or the sending unit. It is still working just fine. Another cool feature is these cars come with vent windows here, also known as the smoking window or the airplane window. I've also been heard it called, and it just kind of pops up here and slides out there. And I believe you should be able to close this completely and have little to no tension on this. But one thing with these Scouts too is weather stripping kind of degraded, and windows would generally pop out of their trim there as the rubber would begin to get hard and expand a little bit. Okay, so over here, actually next to the Scout, not on the bench yet, I got my valve cover, intake manifold, coil bracket, coil mount, and then my water neck with gaskets and everything. Unfortunately, I found that my intake manifold on the Scout here was cracked off, and somebody like used a JB Weld style putty, and it didn't really seal too well. And once I chipped off the piece thinking there's going to be metal behind it, I was greeted with that. And so instead of having somebody fabricate something up, since the water jacket inside there is pretty nasty, I just decided to ball out and get a new manifold for $100 off eBay. Use the cool method I learned about from a forum about how to remove rust from inside the manifold as well as the water jacket there, and so I did that, and then just kind of painted it up and made sure it's real nice, and gonna seal real well. I also bought new gaskets. Here I bought them all from Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a great resource for just gaskets like that. I wouldn't really trust them with motor parts or anything like that, but they're good for gaskets is what I mean. You know, obviously it's a motor part, but I wouldn't trust them for like internals or bearings or stuff like that. So you'll see this get thrown on the car pretty soon, just waiting on for some tools in the mail. So that's something to look forward to. That'll be its own separate video. So stay tuned. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any tips and tricks as far as restoration for one of these vehicles, feel free to drop them below in the comment section or shoot me an email. If you have any questions about my vehicle, as well as any information that I could help you with, feel free to comment that below too or send me an email. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.